Halloween is coming up right now, and we just got a new fusion announced. His name is Harvest Jack. In this video, we're going to talk about if that hero is even worth it at all. We're going to talk about what are the requirements to get it. Is this a really difficult event to complete in comparison to other ones? And some tips if you want to go for it. I am B-Hub. I want to start out by one really helpful piece of advice just up front to make sure that you hear this. If your champion chase tournament looks like this, and these are your rewards, and it's roughly October 25th through October 28th, 2019, then you do not want to use your shards right now if you plan on going for the Harvest Jack fusion. Nothing in here, including this Bulwark, nothing in here actually helps you get the fusion. Now, if you do not plan on going for the fusion and you just really want a Bulwark, because I still love Bulwark, go for it. But if you're planning on the fusion, don't hop into that. Right now, we have this frightening fusion event, and as you can see, Bulwark is nowhere on here, and there will be a champion chase tournament October 31st through November 2nd where you can get the Suai Firstborn, but you can get her from a different event too. So that's pretty good news to start out. Now, Harvest Jack is the new fusion. Let's talk about what this guy actually does, and is he actually worth it? He's a new Undead Hordes hero. He's an HP based hero, which is always a lot of fun. He has a lot of base HP, which is great. His defense is pretty low. I mean, it's definitely not a high one, but his HP is so high that he's going to be able to survive. Definitely going to be able to survive. His attack, I mean, no reason to even think about it because his damage is all based on HP, which is awesome. I like heroes that are damage based on HP. He also has 102 speed, which is great, and so that's going to help him go fast. Good solid hero already. Stats are pretty good. Let's see what he actually does. He attacks one enemy 3 times on his A1. Each hit has a 25% chance of stealing a random buff from the target. That's really good. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs. This chance increases to 100% if all buffs were stolen from the target. So his A1 has the ability of placing this fear right here. You can scale this up and make this a 35% chance of stealing those buffs. And yeah, pretty good solid A1. Over here, damage still based on HP on all of his attacks. This attacks all enemies, places the block buff debuff for 2 turns, block buffs debuff for 2 turns on targets who are under a fear debuff. So that's pretty good. Now, this is what's really cool for me. Removes any increased attack buff from a target and replaces it with the 50% decreased attack for 2 turns. Removes any continuous heal and instead replaces them with poison, and the number of poisons is equal to the number of continuous heal buffs removed. This is a very cool ability. You can get this reduced to a 3-turn cooldown, and I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it attacks all enemies. It's a good solid AoE anyways, so definitely a fun hero there. And then Lord of Terror, a very similar one. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a True Fear debuff for 1 turn. This is actually a pretty good debuff to place. Now it also places a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns and depletes each target's turn meter by 15% if the True Fear debuff is placed. Has a 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if it's not placed. So this just does a lot. Man, this is a cool, interesting hero. And then before we just give it overall, Leering Grin is his passive. When he is attacked, he decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1. And this happens every time. There's no cooldown or anything needed for this. It's just every time he gets hit, he decreases the buff on the attacker. So Harvest Jack is a really fun hero. He is someone who is definitely going to be good, obviously, in Arena. He's going to be very good in Dungeons. He's going to be insane in Faction Wars. I mean, this is a really, really good overall hero for those areas. He's obviously not going to excel in Clan Boss. He doesn't have anything that's going to make him awesome in that area. But in every other area of the game, he will be a very, very solid hero. He is HP based, so you're going to be able, I think, to do a lot of damage with him. And he has 2 AoE attacks that are both very strong AoE attacks. I mean, it does so much stuff. And you don't even have to get the full range of it. Just, I mean, any part of this landing is significant for you, which I really like that. Now, the other thing is so he is a legendary hero. So do you invest books in this hero? He obviously gets better if you do. You get this a 35% chance. This will go to a 3-turn cooldown. This goes to a 100% chance of placing True Fear and on a 4-turn cooldown. So he will definitely get better. But with a hero like this, let's say that you're a free-to-play player and you're like, I don't have the books to scale him up. Is he still usable without the books? Yeah, he is definitely still usable without putting in legendary tomes into a hero like this. But he is I mean, he definitely gets better if you do, but it's not 100% necessary for him to still be an amazing hero for you to use in all of those areas that we discussed. So I think he's a great hero. I think he's worth going for especially if you need somebody in those areas, if you need someone to help you clear dungeon waves faster, if you need someone on your arena team, if you need someone in faction wars. I mean, this is a good solid hero. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got some good mechanics, and it's worth going for. Let's check out the actual event itself. A Frightening Fusion event. So obviously we need 4 of these epic heroes to fuse them. Now the first one is the Void, and you can't get her from any other way except for these 2 events right here, and obviously summoning her from the portal. So you have a Champion Chase tournament October 31st through November 2nd, and a Champion Training event the 28th through the 6th. This, I think, is really cool that they're actually doing this. This is one of the things that makes this one of the easier fusion events that they've done. Not that it will be 100% easy, but it will be easier. It's going to be easier than the Molly Tankard and easier than the Foy, I think, more than likely. Now you have this. You have 2 different options to be able to try and fuse this thing. You can either do the Champion Chase tournament or the Champion Training event. Now here is what I like about this event so far, is that there's only one Champion Chase tournament in it, and everything else is either the Dungeon Divers, there's an Arena Assault, you can get them from either places in the campaign or from dungeons, or Champion Training events. And I love that because there's no artifact enhancement event that you have to do, which is awesome because obviously there was a big debacle with the last one. But also, if you're free to play and you don't have that silver, I mean, that's tough, right? That's one of the harder events to do. Now, the Champion Chase events are also some of the harder events to do when it comes to, do I have to potentially spend money to complete this event? Champion Chase tournaments are definitely hard, especially because they milk you all the time to try and get you to use your shards frequently. So the fact that there is only one Champion Chase tournament and you have an alternative option in a Champion Training event, I think is great for this fusion. I think that's I'm glad that they did that. I think that should probably remove some of these barriers from people who are trying to get this event actually completed. So you can do that Champion Training event. Now for this one, for Maeve, we'll call it Maeve, it's probably right. You can get from these 4 right here. It's possible that you actually already have these heroes, and if not, you can get them from the training tournament, the dungeon campaign, and Dungeon Divers event. Now here's the cool thing is, for the Dungeon Divers event, you don't have to actually do dungeons to complete these events, right? You can actually do campaign, and you can farm, like, you know, obviously if you're farming on Brimstone Path stage 3, you can get the artifacts from that, and that will level up your Dungeon Divers event, at least on the ones that we've seen so far in the current one. So you can level up just like that. So you can actually do, a lot of times, if these 2 overlap, which this one will right here, then you can actually do the Champion Training Tournament and the Dungeon Divers event at the same time, doing the same thing, all moving towards the goal of creating this fusion. So Haikatoon, you might already have a Haikatoon, and if you have invested in him and you need another one, well, here you go. There's more right here. So you have the Arena Assault and you have the Dungeon Divers event that's going to be going on, and that'll help you grab these as well as the Dragon Lair and Godfrey's Crossing. And then Lady Estra, you have again Champion Training, and you have Campaign, and you have Iron Knight's Castle. So that's pretty cool, I think. This to me seems like a very obtainable event. Obviously, it is not a super easy event. Like you obviously have to have saved up your resources. You have to be smart. But in comparison to the Molly Fusion, the Molly Tankard, and the Fully event, I think this is the easiest one that they've come out with so far. One, all of these heroes are, it's possible that you already had them and you've already had them saved up anyways. So there's nothing new that they drop for you to actually get. So that's really awesome as well. So yeah, I think this is a very completable tournament, assuming that you manage your resources well. So as long as you did that, I think you should be pretty good to go. I also like how the champion training part is a large part. There's a lot of stuff in here that's champion training event based. That's really good for these fusion events because obviously you can train up the heroes that you need to fuse, right? So I can train up all of these rare heroes, and I can train up these epic heroes right here, and the ones that I already have, in order to help me get the ones that I don't have. So I think that works out really well. So make sure that you combined a lot of those things. Make sure that during your champion training events, you are training up the heroes that you need to fuse anyways. So there you have it. And then I hope you have a successful grind. I hope your things go well. I think that Jack is a very worthwhile hero. He's usable for sure. He gets better with it. The more HP he has, that's a lot of fun. So yeah, there you go. That's my take on it. If you have anything different, let me know in the comments. If you like a video, hit like, hit subscribe, and until next time, peace out.